And welcome everyone to another exciting adventure on Riding Through the Unknown. I'm your host, Michael, and today I am joined by not only a one-time co-host to the show by doing her mini gemstone readings on the show, but is also a great friend who I had the honor of hanging out with at the Full Disclosure Now 2025 conference, but also a dear friend that I enjoy collaborating with and gave me my first online speakership role. So I'm going to stop gushing and, being in awestruckness of my guest. And I'm going to turn it over to the one, the only Dragoness extraordinaire, Gina Virginia Casella.
Thank you, Michael. Hi, everybody. Hi, Dragon Dreamers. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's always such a pleasure to be on Michael's show with Michael's Soul Tribe, Riding Through the Unknown. Speaking of Soul Tribe, I don't know if folks out there are familiar with the Dragon Dreams Soul Tribe Collective. So you can join my Facebook group for free. We're the Dragon Dreamers. We're your soul tribe. We get you. We've had all kinds of interesting experiences. Those of you who are not familiar with me, wow, where to even start? I've published 8 books all through dreams, half remembered, half misunderstood. When I was in grade 2, 2 angels came out of my wall. It totally freaked me out. In fact, it traumatized me. My vision and hearing flip-flopped. My hearing came back, but my vision is still blurred. Life goes on, become a public school teacher. My health took a hit. And it came to a point where I wasn't ready to return to work and I wasn't supported. So when I wasn't supported, nobody said to me, "We don't believe you." But basically, what else are you saying to me when I'm telling you like my bones are aching and stuff like that, and I'm not able to work? So it triggered me back to when I was in grade 2, when 2 angels came out of my wall and nobody believed me. And so that's the gist of it. The very short of the very long, to relate to you, because it's important to me that we create safer spaces, because we're a story species, and stories, that's our medicine. So when you give or receive a story, in truth, you're giving and receiving medicine. Whether that medicine applies to you or not, it's like any tool. You just put it in your back pocket and part of your toolkit, pull it out when you need it. Maybe somebody you know in 20 years from now will need to hear that story. And the beauty about stories is we can change them, right? So I'm very passionate. This is my new matrix, if you will. So I host conferences, I do energy medicine, I do all kinds of interesting things, hypnotherapy, gemstone reading. So creation of my own making It started as a divinational practice, and before you knew it, I started offering it to the world. So I love talking about dreams. I love talking about Bigfoot, Angel, ET. You tell me. I use the language you use. I don't think I've ever been so open in my life. I find I'm not really in search of truth these days. For me, disclosure is like yesterday. That's old news. I'm indifferent whether a government or agency is telling me something or not. I know the experiences I have. Whether I can explain them or not is another story. But that's the power of belief, power in simplicity, and power to the people, the HSS, the Homo sapiens sapiens we are. I'm trying to promote the HSS acronym because I hear a lot of like other acronyms. So HSS all the way, Homo sapiens sapiens, the biological ones we are. In fact, to be honest with you, just to rewind here, this is my little advertisement, Falling Consciously. Next conference, Saturday, September 19th. Story Species, Story Medicine, the Continuum of Conscious Evolution conference series. So I host a show, Story Species, Story Medicine, Extra Strength, and then this conference 4 times a year complements it. Michael was a speaker, a dragon speaker, and dragon monitor at the first one, and then the second and third returning as a monitor. So that was really special. And I appreciate that. And I'm looking forward to highlighting our new round of speakers. But just to finish my thought, that's the thing with me. Once I get started, I can't stop. But you know what? Information comes fast. And that's a good sign of clarity, right? People who speed talk can get made fun of. And that's all part of the story medicine. We resonate with each other. We all know what it's like to be made fun of for sharing our personal experiences. But anyways, the point I wanted to make is when it comes to artificial intelligence and the biological ones we are, and I know there are non-biologicals tuning in, but this message is targeted for humanity, if you will. It's important to me that any images I create look like something that I personally would have created, or another HSS, Homo sapiens sapien. So when I'm playing around with, I'm using Canva, I'm not being endorsed by them, but that's what I'm playing around with creating this. And sometimes I feel intimidated because I see all these other AI images floating around, and it's very appealing. I can't deny it, right? My eyes take me to the image and I think, wow, that conference sounds interesting. Wow, that workshop that person is offering looks really interesting. So when you see my images, I'm hopeful that they're going to be distinguished as time goes on, because it's a lot of pencil crayons and I upload it and then I play with it from there. And so I feel like as we move closer into the ancient past, as we move into the future, we're moving into the ancient past, we're moving into a technology, for me personally, that I don't perceive as flying cars and big tall buildings, concrete forest. I perceive advanced technology as basically like a forest, ocean, natural environment. But we use our mind powers and our superhuman abilities, if you will. That's our technology. We're the technology. And so images, if you will, are important for all kinds of reasons. But some of the AI images, I have a concern that people get so used to seeing themselves in represented as an avatar of some kind that they lose sight of how they really look. They lose sight of how people really look. And we already have this problem with magazines and whatnot. And this impacts our low self-esteem. So it's important to me that even though my images maybe not look so, cool like some of the others, for me, they stand out in this way. So anyways, thanks for letting me say all of that. I was feeling the excitement. Michael and I were chatting behind the scenes, and we were having a laugh because we probably should have met like a good hour or two behind the scenes to catch up more before the show.
Very true. And one thing I want to share with you, Gina, that woke up and just realized, and you'll get the reference to that because of what we were talking about before, is you talk about having the background as being a teacher. And one of the things that teachers do is plant like little Easter eggs of information in a fun way. And I can't help but notice the titles of your conferences, you whimsically put the season into the title. And so I just wanted to acknowledge I seen that. I love how you do that, and you do it in such a great way. And it's almost like you can't not think of the title. It's like the way you put it, it just rolls off the tongue, and it's so easy to remember.
Yeah, thank you for that. The conferences are in direct alignment with the equinoxes and solstices. So, there's always much to be said about seasonal cycles. And it was really important for me that the conferences didn't just have like a cool name or something like that, that they were in direct alignment. And initially, I was only going to have one, then I was only going to have two. And then I thought, well, why not have four? Because for what it's worth, a lot of Dragon Dreamers out there, and I know folks from Riding Through the Unknown as well. The time, if you will, the days that we live in, most of our communities tend to be online. So it's really important that every couple of months or so, 2, 3 months, there's something going on that we can look forward to. And so I feel a little bit rushed in between each conference just to get the next round going. But that's only because it's not familiar. Like this third round here was much more flow. Um, so yes, and the conferences, this is just the beginning. So right now it's a 1 day, all day event. It's a good like 6 hours long. We've got 6 speakers. I can show you my screen share there in a moment. But for what it's worth, it's not just about us hanging out. That's the thing, because we could hang out on Riding Through the Unknown, right? But the thing is when you have a conference and you make it a bit more formal with a beginning, a middle, and an end, and you have that promotion time before it, this becomes a community gathering. And community themes of belonging, are severely lacking in a lot of our lives. And so this to me is very important. It's never about the quantity, it's never about the numbers. It's always about the quality. And I'm committed to keep these conferences affordable. So the first conference, Promise of Spring, it's always going to be free no matter what, because I insist that there's something available, right? And so in my book series, I don't know if I published this yet, but in my book series, it's predicted that the first one that's free will actually generate the most amount of money, because people just want to get in on it. People want to get in on the hype. People donate money and they don't even watch it. They catch the replay, just because they like this story species, story medicine. They like the community building, right? So yesterday I had Laird Scranton on. What a great guest. I gave him a heads up that you would probably want him to be on the show, on your show. So reach out. He's so awesome to talk to. He talks about the Dogon priests and the education they provided and the pillars, foundations that they lived by, if you will. And that was making metaphors imperative, an absolute 100% must in any kind of information that you want passed down. And so for me, the HSS, the biological one known as Gina, the Homo sapien sapien folk that I am, I'm really starting to connect with the raw zombie part of me, the subconscious mind, that part of me that I'm not even aware that I'm aware or not aware of, because we do tap into it. And my shamanic training came up yesterday in the conversation too, because what Laird was talking about was what Alberto Villoldo calls reading the signs of destiny. And that basically means that all the answers, every code, whatever that you need, any information, it's literally around you, but we don't see it for all kinds of reasons, mostly because we're not consciously aware. So if we can narrow down our focus, if we can become consciously aware, then we can live more consciously, take charge of our lives, which is something else the Dragon Dream Soul Tribe Collective is really passionate about, is being the master author scribe of your life, which is your birthright to be. And we live in a world that promotes scarcity mindset, that promotes fear-based decisions, that promotes rushing and hustle bustle as a way of knowing. That's like we need to rise above that, you know. So there's lots of things I'm passionate about, but ultimately creating safer spaces for story medicine, specifically around the esoteric. So because I know there's tons of story medicine out there, but I'm working with the esoteric, and I do in future envision myself hosting special conferences specific to maybe like violence against women and children, like having a special designated story species. But I'm not there yet on my journey. So really excited. I've got my speakers lined up. I'm just kind of getting ahead of myself now. But shortly, I'm going to be advertising the next conference, Season of Dreams, which is going to be December 21st, I believe. Check my cheat sheet here. Nope, December 12th. December 12th. Because December 21st is the official first day of winter. That's where that comes from. Yeah.
Well, what's interesting is I had recently did an article for Tilly, and she was a guest on your show, and one thing that was interesting is she asked me to write about what is fall, because we all just see the leaves change and we're like, oh, that's fall. It's, this season of this. And in doing research into it and looking at the esoteric, like you're talking about, I realized it's the time, and this is where I get to where I love your titles of your conference, is because the fall is where we go into our consciousness. We go and we're like, well, this is where we've been. This is where we need to go. Are we here? Are we not? It's our introspect of our consciousness. And so when I saw the title of Falling Consciously, I was like, I wonder if she realized and plotted to kind of hint at the esoteric fall and not the everybody's fall, and the generic, season of change. Well, yeah, it's a season of change, but it's a much deeper.
Yeah, you picked up on it, Michael. It's exactly my intention. So, falling consciously is just that. It's not just like, oh, fall down, or oh, it's fall, leaves are falling. Like it's part of all of that, right? But it's about taking that deep dive. So my little one-liner is, come fall with us, come fall consciously with us, September, falling consciously, 2026. And, when you fall, because we all fall, right? Let me rewind. We all fall. It happens to the best of us. It's like shedding our snake skins. Snake skins got to shed, grow a new one's got to shed. It's our pattern. So when we fall, whoa, we can fall pretty hard. We like slam bounce, a lot of us, and we crack even. It's like really hard to get back up. But if you can live consciously, like I was talking about earlier, and really take charge of your life, falling with reflection, living a reflective lifestyle, that's what it means to live consciously, choosing your confessions, basically. And when you fall consciously, as much as it can suck, you fall a lot less lighter. It can still be hard, but it's not as hard as it is when you're not living consciously. And when it's time to get back up, you get back up a lot easier. And some of you listening right now might be thinking, like, what the hell is she talking about? Because I live consciously and it is hell to get back up. But think about if you weren't living consciously, how much harder it would have been to get back up. So falling consciously means like, take the deep dive. This is the fall transition themes like you were talking about, with the intention of the approaching winter season of dreams. So now when it's winter time, you can dream about like connections that you've made. And wintertime can be rough on the literal and metaphorical level. It's cold, it's quiet, but there's a cleanliness that comes with winter and a clarity as well. The metaphors of going out into the forest, the wintry, blizzard or whatever. So then when spring comes rolling around, you have the promise of spring, like phew, finally there's sunshine and little green here. And well, Michael lives in Texas, but here in Canada, it's a big time, okay, when there's no more snow and there's green over there. Like it's like a miracle. Every seriously, every year it's like a miracle. And seriously, I think every person who lives in like a Canadian type climate can say this. Every winter, there's a point where we say, oh my God, it's hard to believe that it's going to be summer, and that bench over there covered in snow, you're going to be able to see it again. And then every summer it's like, oh my God, it's hard to believe, but the snow's going to come and that bench over there, it's like mostly you won't be able to see it again. And so in truth, the promise of spring is the promise of summer. And that's what it's all about, because summer represents the abundance, right? And so I wanted to start my first conference in December of last year because I wanted to start with the metaphor of the South and the shedding and the letting go. But it didn't work out. And then promise of spring almost didn't even happen. And then it came together, and that was synchronicity. It really was. So I always have lots to say. It's been a while since I've been on your show, so that's kind of an update, and just having fun and feeling relaxed about it, easing into this, and I really appreciate the people like Michael, the first handful of Dragon speakers, first and second round, because that helped me set precedents. So other people know what to expect from the presenter's perspective and also from the participant perspective, the audience perspective. Like, how is this day going to flow? What's it like working with Gina, And just my own humility of, being a newbie at creating images, for example. I have a teaching background behind me. Sure, I've helped host conferences before, but not an international online level like I'm doing now. And it's awesome. It feels really good.
Well, you're doing really well at it. And one thing I was thinking too, as we're talking about like the fall, there's a part of the fall that we don't think about as well, and that it's harvest season. But what that really means is, I'm sure many of you growing up heard the same adage that I heard, be careful what you reap because you're going to reap what you sow. And I never understood what that meant. And now I understand that's what fall is. We're reaping what we sowed. We're taking and bringing everything that in the spring and summer we did to prepare us for the winter.
Yes, absolutely. I enjoy literary metaphors, so I could talk about this kind of talk all day. But yes, anything to do with fall. That's why I like working with seasonal themes, even when I was a teacher, because the seasonal theme, it's like the big umbrella term, right? So if I just say we're going to be studying fall, that covers leaves, changes, all of the things that come with it. Going back to what you were saying, harvesting, like the pumpkins and whatnot need to be picked. By the time fall comes rolling around, there's no more tomatoes, for example, in the garden. It's the last of the vegetables. Traditionally, especially in the 4th century, the fall was the time of year where people would basically prepare to have an indoor type lifestyle because the winter was too cold. So the fall is also a time of great abundance. It's the time where, you pick all your cucumbers and transform them into pickles and all your berries into jams. That's what's going to carry you through in the winter. And then in the winter, just like you carry the high quality items forward, that jam and whatnot, those are the high quality items. But also metaphorically, you shed your snake skin. You're always shedding it. So working with seasonal cycles, the fall would metaphorically be like the big snake skin that you shed in anticipation of like the Gregorian calendar and the approaching new year, the deep introspection that comes with the transition from fall into winter, and harvesting of animals as well. So it was that's why in the spring, is it Beeltana? That's why it's so important to celebrate the animals, because they're having their babies in the spring, right? But intentionally, like even if like they have lots and lots of babies, well, you know what? By the time fall comes rolling around, most of the herd is going to be slaughtered for meat. Things like beef jerky come into play. But the reality is, long ago, folks could not house the animals. It wasn't safe. It wasn't an ideal environment. So it could be confusing for people, because representative of the confusing weather, confusing emotions, because it's like, you're like winter's approaching, things are going to be scarce, and yet you're like doing away with all these resources. What? So but also with the harvesting of the animals, it's like arts and crafts. You take the skin and the fur and you separate it, and you have like your like indigenous folks are really great for this. They have their bear skins and whatnot just organized, sitting there off to the side. And when they have time, or if they need the fur or skin, then hey, they go and grab it. Same with bones and whatnot, right? To make tools or interesting jewelry. So for me, falling consciously, like each season has its own special thing, but for me, fall's always a big one. For me, the like October, November, December is always special for me, with the Thanksgiving themes, and then Christmas themes, goodwill towards men, all of that stuff. And also the dead walking the earth, those type themes, and the bridging of worlds. So yeah, it'd be fun. It's going to be, I like to link as many things as I can. Like if I can link something, I link it, Yeah, so thank you for reminding me about all that.
Yes, and another reminder too is when you look at the fall symbolically to ourselves, wintertime is when we tend to get more isolated, lonely, because weather, being what it is and all, but also, like you're saying, with Thanksgiving, we have Veterans Day, we have all these holidays coming up, and they're all about remembering what they're all about, being grateful for what you have, celebrating the peace within us. But all of that is possible because in the fall, we mentally prepared ourselves. And if we didn't go into introspection and think about what's coming in the wintertime, in the fall, I feel like the wintertime could, in essence, swallow some people up in all kinds of emotional trauma and chaos, and trying to think of the word, but it's not coming to me right now.
Yeah, cabin fever comes to mind. You
Yes.
spend too much time in isolation, even if you're not completely by yourself, but cabin fever in the sense that it's the same people, the same environment, nothing is changing. when you're not stimulated,
Stuck.
you do go
That's it.
insane. You
Yeah,
need to
stuck.
be stimulated. That's why arts and crafts are important. When you're tired and hungry and you're losing weight because of that, winter is very scary. And calorie wise, you go through tons more calories in the winter time. So your body demands more food, right? And something else that you reminded me of was the goldfish that dances on land. How could I forget? So there's too much to say about the goldfish dancing on land. I do talk about it lots. So just Google me a little bit there. But the goldfish dancing on land basically is murdered by these ETs. They leave it on the land and it dehydrates. And Mother Nature is so upset by this that she creates the first fall. And the color orange in particular is really special because the goldfish, even though it's gold, it's more orange color. So it's kind of like nature non-verbally bowing. Like, when somebody dies in Canada and the US, like other countries too, like they'll lower the flag to show respect. It's kind of like that. Mother Nature made things orange. Um, so it's really special because the goldfish dancing on land connection as well. So, and winter never asks to come. None of the seasons ask to come. We know of them because of the patterns, and those patterns sometimes, like, they're not stamped in time. Sometimes it comes a little faster, it lingers. So we need to prepare, and that's why it's important to have a relationship that's reflective of the seasonal cycles, or you'll die. Mother Nature will consume you. Good old man versus nature themes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stuck was what I was thinking of. Is you'll get, like you were saying, stagnant. You'll be stuck, and that can be, if you're not careful and observant about it. Come spring, you may be so stuck that you miss spring, and you go into the summer, and you're like, oh, I'm stuck, but I don't know. I think I'm too far into it, and then you're in the fall, and it's like, oh yeah. And so I think that's where that comes into mentally, preparing. And Dan Guest is right, is the fall is where a lot of people get overwhelmed and feel they have no way out because of not being prepared. And I think that's something that, it's not, I mean, I'm not asking everyone to go and write out like a list of, oh, I'm grateful for this, I have this to look forward to, and these are my friends, and contact lists, and making all these grand gestures. But just be aware that even if you are surrounded by people, the same people, for long periods, and or isolated and by yourself, as long as you have someone you can reach out to and just say hi to, you're not isolated and you're not alone. So you can get yourself out of that stuck energy by just simply engaging with one person. And, maybe that's just something we need to encourage. But I also feel like, and in full transparency, I haven't looked at the speaker list for the conference, but I have noticed there is somewhat a theme to everyone's topics, even though we don't, as a speaker, get given topics. So I am curious to see which topic is coming in for the fall and what Gina has in store for us.
Okay, so the speakers, all of them, they have a timeline that I give to work with them. So I'm all about the checklist, but that checklist needs to be checked off with quality, right? So I told the speakers in advance, here's my conference Bible, all the dates and expectations. If you want to send me everything all at once right now, great. If you want to work with my timeline, work with my timeline. So the presenters have until this Sunday midnight to submit to me their title and description, a special message about hopes and dreams, and I think that's it. And then there are other stuff like their bios and that were already due to me. So next week I can give more clarity on that. I have a schedule and I'm going to be filling it in. I'll show you that on my Buy Me a Coffee. But the keynote speaker, I always ask the keynote, who's going to be Laird Scranton this time, to say a little something about story species, story medicine. Like each speaker only has 35 minutes. And Laird is actually going to be talking about different levels, four different levels or stages, material and non-material energies, consciousness, I forget the fourth one, how they come together and create life as we know it. Very interesting. And maybe now is a good time to screen share and show you my Buy Me a Coffee. I have some stuff here just in my images. There's my little logo, Falling Consciously, Saturday, September 19th. So come dream with us. Come fall consciously with us. Saturday, September 19th. You can purchase your tickets right here, right now on my Buy Me a Coffee, or you can even save money with a membership, Project 30 Isis Unity Consciousness. These are the speakers here. But you know what? I think I'm going to put it on my screen share because I like how it has all the pictures like back to back. So let me do that right now. Okay, screen share. Okay, almost okay. Oh, you added it to the stage. Thanks, Michael. Okay, so can you see that okay?
Yes, become a member.
Okay, okay, great. Yeah, I can't see it, but as long as you can see, that's fine. Okay, so this is my Buy Me a Coffee. So if you want to book privates with me, energy medicine, gemstone readings, hypnotherapy, that's all this stuff, the shamanic dragons. This is the collective membership, Project 30, Isis, Unity Consciousness. I work with Paul energy. Okay, there's no pushing here. So I lovingly invite you to check it out. You get all these bonuses. One of the bonuses worth noting right here includes free live link to Gina's online conferences, March, June, September, and December. It's all pending, and September is happening. So come join us. I'd love for you. The shop, you just click on shop, and then you'll find some free stuff. There's the first two conferences. You can also find it on my YouTube. This will just redirect you there. It's free to follow me on Buy Me a Coffee. So lovingly invite you to follow me. Then you get in on the emails and this kind of stuff. My first movie that I made, mini movie, Lucy, you can watch it. Right here, you can get the tickets for Falling Consciously. And if you're feeling ambitious, you can even get your ticket for Season of Dreams. So if you click on this, it shows you some stuff, which I'm going to be updating. So here's the write-up. And it really did bring me great joy to be the visionary and host behind all of this. We got tons of compliments on the overall presentations, the integrity of the speakers, the intention that was set during the day. So these pictures I'll go over. I just want to show you at glance here. This is the schedule. I'm going to be plugging in information here. So there it is for you to buy. And if you follow me for free on Buy Me a Coffee, like I said, you get in on this kind of stuff. My books, my oracle. Like I said, I host a show. So the post, this is the emails that you would get. And this is the one I want to show you. This is the one that went out today. 192 views. Thank you, everybody. If you haven't, hit the subscribe button. Show me some loving. Hit the subscribe button and share this with others, because there's so many dragons out there who feel alone. So this post here, I know you can't read the words. I'm scrolling way too fast. All right, these are the pictures. Okay, top left, this is the order that the dragon speakers are presenting. It just worked out that they're all masculine, and it worked out that the last conference they were all feminine. So there you go. I thought that was interesting. Laird Scranton, this guy is an expert, okay? If you want to know something about primordial creation, ancient symbols, the Dogon, this religion compared to that religion, and that's what he does. He's a comparative cosmologist, and he's an expert. This guy's been doing it for like more than 30 years. He's an author. I've personally read 3 of his books, and it's worth noting, I don't read the same book by, I don't read multiple books by the same author, because I find they sound the same. And I did not find that with Laird Scranton. His books are very distinguished. And he's going to be our keynote. And he's the guy that I was talking about earlier when I was talking about how there's a guy that was on my show yesterday. So all of the speakers, actually, Michael Kopp and Julia Ankerhaven, like to reach out to them and have them on their show. And I let all the speakers know that. So it's just a matter of planning, right? Leon Southgate, he is an academic researcher specializing in acupuncture, biophysical orgonomy, cloud busters, and the weather. He's also an author. Really enjoyed having a conversation with Leon. He's very laid back. Acupuncture it's more of his old matrix, the weather, orgonomy, very interesting. I saw him on Julia Ankerhaven's show, and I thought I misunderstood orgonomy. I thought he was talking about origami, where you have like a piece of paper and like you make a swan out of it, and you're not allowed to cut the paper. It's just all based on folding. That's what I thought he was talking about.
Yeah, origami.
Origami, yes. Yeah. So I told him that when we were talking behind the scenes, and he thought it was interesting because I don't have a science background. And basically that's what he's talking about, is like the folding of air and water. So that was pretty cool. Dan Armstrong, scapholological scholar. What does that mean? It means Dan likes to study things that are on the fringe, things that aren't exactly popular, that might bother people and ruffle feathers. That's what Dan likes to look into. He also is open about being a MyLab survivor and a paranormal experiencer. Daryl James, he was just on my show too. He is a U.S. Navy veteran and solar warden, pilot, secret space program. Rob Khalil, this guy, he's hosting lots of shows, the Typical Skeptic podcast. Rob is in search of truth, likes to learn about full disclosure. I'm not really sure what he's going to talk about yet. He mentioned Anunnaki, but I was like, I'm hopeful Rob will talk about community. I actually asked Rob to present at my conference, the first one, the second one, and then the third one, I didn't actually ask him. He reached out to me. So I thought, okay, there's some good synchronicity, And Joshua Shapiro, he was also recently a guest on my show. Thank you, by the way, Michael, for letting me go through all of this here. Joshua Shapiro, this guy, he has a background studying crystal skulls. You want to know about crystal skulls? He's an expert. Ask him. He can answer all your questions. He has lots of personal stories. He's been gifted crystal skulls. He's found crystal skulls, inherited crystal skulls. And each crystal skull is not exactly made out of crystal, but it's made out of some kind of rock, gemstone, and they all have a story behind them. He investigates the paranormal. His new mission, or refocused mission, if you will, is promoting the gateway of light. It was something that was gifted to him after his wife's passing a few years ago now. This is my crew, the Dragon Monitors. There's the lovely Michael Kopf in the center. Julia Ankerhaven off to the left here, was just mentioning her. and Jason H. also helping out. So again, I work with Pole Energy, and it's just nice to have my team behind me. This one I think is cute because the only picture is Sheila. It ended up being kind of small. Sheila was one of our dragon speakers last time with Summer Days, but this round she's going to be a dragon healer. Both Sheila and her husband, they have like more than 1,000 songs, maybe it's 2,000 songs, ample songs that they've created, and Sheila's working on something special. So she keeps sending me emails like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And I was really enjoying it. But then I said, you know what, Sheila, I'm not going to listen to any more stuff because I want it to be a surprise. I want this to be like your project. I trust you. So I feel really excited for Sheila because what she did share with me, it does not sound like something that comes from Sheila, and there's like a ferociousness about it. So whatever she creates, I know it's going to be great. The Dragon Visionary, yours truly, Gina Virginia Casella. Just reiterating my contact information. And of course, September 19th, that's the big day it's going down. So 8:30 a.m., I'll be hanging out with you live. We've got a prompt start, 9 a.m. Our virtual doors open. And then I know what I'm doing, so I plugged in my stuff. I'll be welcoming you, lighting candles, opening sacred space. We're going to journey to the pine tree forest. I have a little welcome speech, tell you a little bit about Project 30 and who the Dragon Dream Soul Tribe are. Before you know it, Sheila will be performing, and then Laird is up. In between each presenter, we've got a 20-minute break. This is online, just to remind everybody. And before you know it, it's over. I'll be thanking you. We'll return from the pine tree forest, close sacred space, final chat connections, and that's it. So this is my symbol, Project 30, Isis Unity Consciousness. All my content is merging together. Be on the lookout for this symbol for consistency. My YouTube channel has it, my Facebook group. And this is just a fun thing that I created with Canva. I don't see myself getting any more fancier than this. For me, I
That's
don't
pretty
think
cool, though.
to be honest, but yeah, it is cool. And in my Facebook, the first 10 people, so there's 8 people left that at least I'm aware of. There's a cool post that went out on my Facebook today asking people for permission so I can play around with their image with Canva because I think it's cool to incorporate you into the Dragon Dreams Oracle, right? Because you are in my Oracle, folks. I don't know if you know that, okay? This is my logo, Story Species, Story Medicine. I'm going to transform things into a book, Oracle, all this stuff I feel like you know about. If you're listening to me and you're like, Gina, I want to be a guest on your show. Here's some information for you. I would absolutely love for you to be my guest. Yeah, I had Laird Scranton on yesterday, but don't feel intimidated by that. It's for people who have an academic background and people who have absolutely no academic background. The point is we share the story medicine. That's what brings us together. I don't investigate my guests either. I'm beyond truth at this point in my life. If you're interested in being a dragon speaker, I won't go through the criteria, but there it is for you. You can put the video on pause, catching the replay, or you can just visit my Buy Me a Coffee and find it in there. If you would like to host yours truly on your show, send me an email at Glance. This is all the stuff I'm passionate to talk about. I will be offering courses, writing books about all of this, just one thing at a time, right? And like Michael describes, this is my Easter egg. So you've got Season of Dreams coming up. And I thought this was funny to include. And there's my little promo video. That's me telling the Gnome King story and then the first 2 conferences. So this was a big post that went out. Usually I don't put that many pictures. I don't put that many videos. But this was a nice, like, well-rounded, all the presenters are included. So thank you so much for letting me go over all of that with you. And I can see you again.
No,
So
thank
come
you
dream with
for
us. Fall
yeah.
consciously with us.
Yes, and I want to take a moment and just kind of touch on the story species, story medicine, because there may be authors that are watching this and wondering what we're talking about. And what it is you get to spend an hour and a half, I think is the most, where you get to share your story of the book and what the book stands for and what it means on deeper levels than you normally would. Gina is an excellent host at getting you to go into emotional or into the deeper realms of what you write. And so the audience gets to hear more of your intention and your view of the book in a way never really brought about, I feel like, in other shows. But also, this was very kind of moving and kind of euphoric for me. Was I got to read part of the book, and she offers to read part of the book if you would like. And there is something about, when you write and you're have the voice in your head and it's being put to the paper, so to speak, and being published. But it's something else when you hear it coming back at you and you start to hear how the reader is hearing it and knowing, oh my God, that landed exactly the way I wanted it to. And Gina is not the type of host that says, "Hey, I'm reading this. What do you? How do you want me to read it? What's the meaning behind this?" She just blindly reads it, and the way she reads it, in my opinion, in my experience, when I'm on her show, always lands in a way where I feel like that's exactly how I wanted it to be read. So I always leave the show feeling like, wow, it's so nice that somebody is taking such an interest in the story that you're writing that most people just kind of glance over. So thank you, Gina.
Absolutely. Thank you for saying that. It's my dragon delight. We had, like I said, Joshua Shapiro the other day, and we weren't sure what to read over. There was too much that we wanted to read over, and we discovered that it was going to take too much time, like just the way the dialogue was going. So I suggested, why don't we go over some of his definitions? And that was very enjoyable. Like we just read over his definition of what a Pleiadian was, what a Nocturian it means, like that kind of stuff. And so it varies. Some people, they have books, but they don't really care if I read or not from their book. Some people, they're not even published, and that's okay. I'm noticing a trend actually. Initially, when I started my show, it was targeted for published authors because I wanted to make a distinction of people who share their real face and their name, even if it's a stage name, like it's your name that you're known by. But now, a lot of people, they're struggling to get their books published. They're feeling very scattered. So being on my show is becoming a stepping stone for a lot of folks to publish. They're enjoying looking at the transcript. That's one good thing about YouTube. It generates a transcript. Usually you got to wait 24 hours, but then you have something to work with, right? And like you said, it's really enjoyable when somebody reads your story because just the tone of voice that comes with it, the meaning shifts. To hear your words bounce back to you, it's almost like that conscious observer part is connecting with you through the third party of the person reading your material. And I always find it to be really special because it reminds me of sitting with the little ones when I was a teacher and, going over their animal projects and stuff and their journals, and really enjoyed that. And I know a lot of folks out there are using the AI rewriter. That's okay. I myself used the AI rewriter to help me clarify my thoughts. Sometimes I wasn't even sure what I was talking about. And the AI provided me with vocabulary like spaghettification process, string theory. I didn't realize I was talking about that kind of stuff. So if you're like me and you have the humility to admit it, then I would absolutely adore for you to be on my show. There's also a lot of imposters out there. And those people, it's interesting because, wow, do they ever flash their books around? But I don't think they could speak to their book if their life depended on it, to be honest. And so it's interesting. Going back to my comments earlier about artificial intelligence and finding balance with it, you always need to know what you authentically look like and sound like. It's nice to have the AI complement and enhance, but you should always know what you look like and sound like. So now I'm just kind of going off on a tangent, but
No, you speak to something really important because being an author now, 5 books, 3 in the works, I can say in full honesty, I have nothing against AI, for books. The only thing is, I can't authentically speak to what the AI generates because it's not my words, not my experience. And so that's why in my books, I don't use AI in the text of the book. I'll use AI to make the covers, but when it comes to the experiences or the story and making it flow, I like to genuinely, authentically use my words and my train of thoughts because I feel like authors need to have an integrity that's above reproach. And what I mean by that is, so if I handed Gina a book and she reads it and goes, "Hey, this stands out. Can you talk to me about this?" Because it's my words, absolutely I can. But if it's something AI wrote, I have to stop and think about what was I writing there that AI rewrote and what did it change it to and what was the original. And so I feel like there's a little bit of loss of integrity because you look like, how do you not know what this is because you put your name that you wrote it? And so that's my personal take on the AI with the books.
yeah, I fully agree. And you know what? That's why the book is always better than the movie, because when you create movies, you leave out a lot of the book, right? You're just sharing the highlights and all that, like home and hearth and the richness and the authenticity and integrity that you speak of. It just goes, right. My favorite writing style is journaling, because talking is writing. So, like what you're describing, it's called stream of consciousness, actually, where you just write with flow. Where are these ideas coming from? No idea, but they're coming, and you write them down. And a lot of my books, like, it's my dream journal, right? Um, but using the AI here and there, especially for like the first 4 books, really helped to make or break those books getting published, because I felt like I was dying. I had no energy. So I would use Microsoft Word and like mumble into it, and then like it did a fairly good job of recording what I said. And then, like I said, I would play with the AI rewriter because I didn't want anybody else's name to be on my book either. I didn't want there to be an editor. Um, something I wanted to mention like an hour ago now when we were talking about seasons was the Dragon's Dreams Oracle is actually broken up into the 4 seasons, but I don't even talk about it in here. Like behind the scenes, my folders, I've got 4. um, it starts in the fall with Snake. That's why the Dragon Dream Oracle #1 is Snake for the fall, falling consciously. um, and then it's winter, spring, and then summer, and each power animal gets associated with it. Um, but there's just so much to say. I couldn't capture it in here, and I also wanted to leave it open and flexible. And I say that in the little booklet that comes with the Dragon Dreams Oracle. Like, use it how you see fit. You know, you don't even have to use the booklet. It's whatever, like whatever card you pull, you need to ask yourself, why is this perfect for me today in this moment? And whatever resonates with you, answers that come to you, maybe more questions that come to you, that's for you to play with and work with. If you need more insight, read the booklet. You know, when I'm doing live readings, I often will refer to my booklet because I'm like, you know what? There's something in the booklet, like a one-liner or a word that I'm brain farting it out on that I feel compelled to tell you. And then I'll read the little message and it's like, ah, yeah, there it is right there. That one little sentence, you know, that somebody needed to know. And like I said, I want to make movies about the Dragon Dreams Oracle, and even like me being on Michael's show is part of that. Michael and I collaborated. We made a mini movie about it, me finding the Gnome King's gemstones. And so now I'm just having image fun where I'm generating a bunch of images. And like I said, it's the first 10 to respond to my post in Facebook. So I'm taking this image, mixing it with, you have to pick a number 1 to 91 representing the cards. So I take like whatever image of that, the cover image, and then your image. So it's 3 images only, and then the AI mix matches them together and creates something interesting looking. And then it's cool to make it a video. So I don't really know what I'm doing right now. I'm just collecting resources and having fun as I'm doing it. So,
Well, you do it very well, and I will say too, as you were saying, working with you and doing, this process and everything. One thing that, we haven't really talked about, and I say this for everyone who's, considering being a speaker, but is like, I've never done it, and I know this is going to be overwhelming and going to be, a lot of pressure. Gina actually is one of those rare hosts that takes the time and works with you to help dispel the fear, help not despair, dispel the despair and everything, and really motivate and really like kind of lift you up and inspire, because she sits down and will be like, if for example I didn't know how to PowerPoint, and she's like, well, this is, try doing this is what works. And I sent it to her, and then I mistakenly thought because I had 2 copies I could change one copy, the other copy will remain. And she messages me and says, hey, this isn't complete. I thought you said you sent me this. And I said, I did. And I explained what happened, and she goes, oh, you can't do that. You got to wait until. And so I was like, oh. And so she graciously allowed me to redo it and didn't hold the fact that I was late now and over the day. And so that's something really unique that I just want to share with everyone, is as much as we talk about holding to the fire and getting everything done on time and having these deadlines,
Yes.
they're not cast in stone for her if you reach out to her in advance. I'm not
Yes.
saying the day after go, oh hey, I didn't know, can I get this to you then? Because then you'll probably get a much different Gina.
Yes. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
she's very
The
lighthearted.
sides of Gina.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and
that's
thank you for saying that, because it's true. Some people, they have zero background using a computer, it's just not their thing. You don't have to create a PowerPoint presentation, but you need to give me a pre recorded video of you talking about it. And it can be intimidating. And honestly, when it comes to that kind of stuff, it just people feel overwhelmed. They don't want anything to do with it, right? Then they start learning about the limitations, like having a 35-minute maximum. But what ends up happening is the people who don't have the experience, every single one of them has come to realize that this is the pathway to take because it prepares you to share your story medicine. Um, a lot of the presenters disclosed to me privately that they were just like bawling their eyes out creating and preparing for the conference because it forced them to really narrow down and isolate one focus because you only have 35 minutes. That 35 minutes is followed by a Q&A. I also need a few minutes to introduce you. It's nice to thank you, but before you know it, it's been an hour, right? So the power of a conference is that it's the whole day where it's concentrated, and the intention is that it's back to back and that the presenters don't have the time to do a deep dive. It's more of just an introduction. Here's my name. This is, my story medicine, and giving and receiving the healing, the medicine. And then people relate and connect about it. So
well,
don't feel
what
shy or anything to come and reach out to me for assistance. I can help you. It's no problem. Um, it's really interesting. Dan Armstrong and I, we had a laugh about a week ago when we were chatting because he's like me. He has a background as a teacher. And he basically, to make a long story short, he had an expectation that I had due dates and that I had like a limitation set on the presentation. And he's the one who actually asked me about backup plans. And I was like, yep, I've got that all covered. And then we had a laugh because I'm like, Dan, you're the only one this like far who like has given me that kind of feedback. And we're like, because we're teachers, we know. We've especially working with children, like you can't, I mean, you could have the best lesson plan and squirrel, now there goes your math lesson, so anything like that, Dan and I are used to it, and for what it's worth, I plan the conferences in such a way that we should have extra time. We shouldn't be going right up until 6 p.m. If we have to, we have to. If we have to go a few minutes into overtime, in my strong opinion, it's just a few minutes. And that's because we had like some major tech issue problem or whatever. So the intention is there. It cost money to join us live. And then about a week to our month after the fact, it'll be available for free. I know that frustrates people. I'm working with Pull Energy. My intention is to create hype to spend time together live. That's why I'm asking for money. Also, because the presenters, I'm not paying them money. It's absolutely volunteer. It's volunteer for Michael and the rest of my crew. It's volunteer for Sheila, the healer. I do offer energy exchanges like a gemstone reading. And it's my dragon delight to do that because I want people to experience the gemstone reading. So last week I did a few people and it was really cool. I felt a bit shy doing Leon Southgate's because given his like background with energy and just vibrations and healing, he was quite intrigued by it. So anyways, I'm just going on like I am going on. But at some point, I'd like to pull a card for the collective as well.
sure.
Just
And
nice to hang out with you. It's been a while. And your
It
face looks
has.
better. Oh my God. Michael sent me a
Thank you.
picture and I was genuinely worried that he was in a motorcycle accident or something like that. So it looks a lot better.
Thank you. And before we do the card, I just wanted to say, how many times do we go to conferences and it says start time is, say, 10 o'clock in the morning? And you're sitting there at 10:30 going, why haven't we started? What's going on? Nobody's communicating. And your entire day has now been pushed back, and you may or may not be able to see the whole deal now because somebody didn't do their write up in advance or didn't test their equipment. So, one thing that Gina did, and I talk about this with every chance I get about the conference, is when Gina says start at, say, 8 o'clock in the morning, she starts at 8 o'clock. And how she keeps on track is everyone doesn't know this, but I share it. So if you watch my shows, this little Easter egg is the presenters hand off to Gina before the conference starts a 35-minute presentation video. So if they have something come up and can't make it, or if their internet goes out the day of, or just doesn't want to communicate, the link's not working, she plays the video instead of the live. So everything continues to run on track. And if you have somewhere to go after the conference, you're going to make it and you're going to see everything because she has contingencies in place so that we don't go and be like, hey folks, sorry, we're having this issue. I promise we'll start as soon as we can. No, she may come on and say, hey, we're having tech issues, so and so can't log on. Here's the presentation, and it'll go right into it. So there is no delay.
And thank you for saying that. We are ready to rock and roll. The only thing that can stop us is if there's a national internet outage. That happened 2 years in a row in Ontario. So that's like the only thing that could go wrong. And even though that happened 2 years in a row, it never happened before. So, it was. I don't want to say the cell phone company name in case I'm wrong, but one of the providers just didn't work, so nobody had internet access. So if you needed a ride somewhere, needed to call somebody, anyways, that would be the only thing that could go wrong, and I feel really good about it. In terms of being on time is really important. That's how you earn respect. Respect isn't something that's just handed out. You need to earn it, just like friendship. And I've got speakers and an audience tuning in internationally. And even if they were all local, we all need to plan accordingly. And it's interesting because some speakers are planning the day to be there all day. But some speakers, they've got other things that they need to move on with. So I've had some speakers say to me, I'd love to present at your conference, but it has to be in the morning or I can't do it. So that's just another reason why I set precedents being on time and earning that respect so I could get presenters that feel comfortable being a presenter, like some people, behind the scenes is interesting. I'll tell you that much. Like some people, like they put their smile on and then you talk to them behind the scenes and it's like all they care about are the number of views. One presenter, that's all they asked me about. We've had no other communication other than the number of views and subscribers. Like, other presenters, they say yes right away and then, oh, shoot, doesn't work in their schedule, maybe next time. Other people, like Leon Southgate was the last one that I had commit to being a presenter. He literally committed on like the Thursday, Friday, and then I needed stuff for him by Sunday midnight. And he told me that he was going out of town to spend time with family. And I'm like, okay, Leon might be an exception, but he still gave me his stuff on time, and that's the pull energy I'm working with, the natural drive to get it done. Some people are excited. Joshua Shapiro sent me most of his stuff already. That's what I'm talking about. Some people, I talk to them and they're like, yeah, I'd love to be at your conference. Oh, wait, I got to plan in advance. Oh, you mean I got to set intention? I have to like think about what I'm going to say. Oh, like I can't just wing it? No. If that was the case, I would just invite you on my show. That's what my show is all about. But when we're hosting a conference and we're asking people for money, hell yeah, there needs to be some structure. At least that's my ball game, right? So just getting passionate there for a moment because it's I would never drop the names, but it just really made me take a step back. Wow, wow, you really don't know people, their true colors, until you have behind the scenes type conversations with them, and it's interesting. So I really appreciate anybody who has stepped forward to share their story medicine, who has become a medicine bearer, moving from the confused warrior to the wisdom keeper, now the medicine bearer. And yes, I will be writing a book about that. It's just one thing at a time. So,
Well, and one other thing I will say real quick about the conference and topics in her story, species, story, medicine, is most people focus on mainstream ideas or surface ideas. And I know I'm using my kind of terminology here, so some of you may not follow what I'm meaning, but they stay in a safe zone. We'll put it that way, because they don't want to mention something that may get their conference taken down or their show taken down. Gina, I have watched from March when we did the first one to now, and it's almost like she puts all caution to the wind and is like, hey, if you're wanting to talk about this, I know it's not a popular topic. I know it's a controversial topic and it could lead into trouble. She's like, bring it. Share your experience. So she gives a voice to people who are often without a voice. And so I just wanted to acknowledge seeing that and appreciate that. And I was in awe because when I first was talking, I was like, well, what's a topic I can talk about that's safe, because this is the first conference. I don't want to be the one bringing it down. And then I was like, but I also got to keep it in the scope of the books, because I feel like this is where the conference is coming from. And now I'm not saying I would change my March topic that I did. I loved my topic and I get great feedback from it all the time. But I might have stretched it to include other aspects that are not so normally talked about. But that's the glory of being a speaker, is there's always a second appearance. And Gina knows, because I've said this several times, you need a speaker filled, let me know. I can whip up something real quick. So there's
and that
another plug for
compliments
you.
me every time you say that. Every time you say that, I get so complimented. Like, all of the speakers are more than happy to be a returning speaker. Like, they catch wind. Oh, you're hosting another conference? I can be a speaker. And it's like, you were just a speaker at Promise of Spring. And it's like, well, they can be a speaker again. Oh, you need a healer? Well, they'll be a healer this time. So I just love it. I am after diversity. That's why I want there to be turnover. But it's possible that we could have returning dragon speakers like Michael. It's possible that the 1 day conference could transform into a 2-3 day conference. So there's lots of possibilities, lots of possibilities.
And I did go from speaker to moderator. I wasn't moderator on the first
I
conference.
forgot.
That came later, but I was in the chat room for the entire first conference, so that's probably why it was confusing.
Yeah, you were. And you know what? Like your presentation that you did, it was a phenomenal presentation. The theme was there, the hero's journey. That kind of presentation is always going to be relevant. And then when different people do the same presentation, it still bears relevance because it's a case by case scenario to the person who's presenting it, right? But this was your first time presenting. So you have to remember, like, people who have academic backgrounds, who have done presentations at universities, who have done presentations at annual general meetings, public speaking here and there, even for those experienced people, they still get nervous and whatnot, right? You go through those motions. And so I stand by your presentation. For a first time presenter, that was a lot to take in. It wasn't just the presentation, it was the emotions and the anticipation of the whole entire experience unfolding. And the beauty about your presentation is now that's a stepping stone. Rob and I just had this conversation. He has 2 presentations to create because he's going to be speaking at my conference, and I forget the name, but another conference in person in Pennsylvania where he is. So I told him that's perfect because basically you create your presentation for my conference and then you build on it, creating a different presentation. So you have 2 presentations out of the deal, right? And then having this experience behind you builds that familiarity with your own content because you know who you are, you know your story. But it's interesting how we actually don't know it well enough to tell it in a structured way that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. That's where working with Slavka was really important because she knew her story, she knew her material, but she was so scattered. So just sitting down with her, she did the talking, I did the typing. Here's your 3 organized things to talk about, all the power to you. Now you can go off on your own and make your presentation, And it's a lot easier than you think. So don't be discouraged. Reach out. It's possible. It's possible. And before you know it, you're publishing your books, right?
Right. And the beauty of it too is, you may publish and be sitting there thinking, now what do I do? What's the next step? But because you've been following Gina and everything, you can message her and be like, hey, I just wrote this book, and she'll be like, great, when do you want to come on? And you can promote it out and bring awareness to it. And so I think we're getting
just bringing
ready.
out this towel here. Yeah.
Yeah.
The cards are already mixed up. They're always in a state of mixed upness. Okay, so just take out my little booklet. So again, everybody's part of this, the Dragon Dreams Oracle.
I love your deck, Gina. It is so original and so cool.
Make sure you put your picture in that post on my Facebook because it's the first 10, and the last I looked, 2 people responded. And thanks, Missing Time for 20, for posting that. I also saw Julia Anchorhaven in the chat. Hi, Julia. And there was somebody else.
Laura was in.
Oh, I missed Laura. Hi, Laura. Now everything is highlighted and not letting me do anything.
Yeah.
There was a Max. There we go. Dan Guest. That was the name. Dan Guest. Thanks for tuning in and for your insights there. I did see them. When we were talking about the seasons, I was seeing the comments from Dan Guest in particular. And Sheila was just hosted on Julia's show too. I saw that. Yeah.
Yes, okay. And I'll be on Julia's show in a couple hours.
Oh, in a couple hours. Okay. This one is almost done. It's my flora that's like never ending. There's just a little bit left in there. All right. Okay. So we're just pulling. Whoa. I just like smashed my singing bowl there with the. Did you hear that?
I did. We're all awake now.
Yeah. Rise and shine. Okay, this is for the collective. I'm just pulling one card, and my right hand is my left hand is going like this. A digging action. This makes me think of tillers of the earth, and my pinky, the earth, wants to choose. This one. Okay, this one. Oh, this one. This one keeps coming up. This one, can you see that okay? This one, I can put it on screen share actually. This is card number 22. Let me pull it up quickly here. I got to pull it up behind the scenes first. Okay. This is a good one to put on screen share. Okay. Okay, wrong folder. I got to organize my folders. Okay.
Well, while you're doing that, I will shamelessly plug your deck by saying she created each card individually, and it correlates to her journey and is available for purchase. They are made specifically by her, so all the proceeds goes directly to Gina. Same thing with the conferences, all proceeds goes to Gina. And let's see, what else can I say about
that.
The
Dragon Dreams Oracle, people do take a cut. I forget the name of the publisher there. It's on my website, but they do take a cut, the publishers. Okay. But the conferences, Buy Me a Coffee takes a little percentage. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Can you pull that to the stage?
It's up.
Can you see that okay?
It looks like 3 fingers with... Is that a mosquito on it?
That's my menstrual blood. So each card is stamped with my bloody tampon. It was a special ceremony I did. But this card is important because it's telling you to read between the lines, as in read between the illusions that are around you. So Michael's right. If you look at this, it's 3 fingers, but you see those lines? There's the middle finger in between. Right. And so this card is like simultaneously saying F you, like F you illusions around me. So do your own critical thinking. Come to your own conclusions based on your own thinking. Take in the perspective of others. That's how you think critically and uncover information that's not explicitly stated. So we have a lot of inferring to do. And the world around us, in and around us, is full of illusion, including metaphors that help us make sense of the world. But the lines on the map is also connected to themes of sovereignty. We put the lines on the map there in terms of like Canada, the United States. We carved out provinces and territories and states. We said this is going to be Florida, that's going to be Ontario. Those lines are not naturally there. Then there's the lines on the map that are naturally there, like water cuts through the land, right, and creates lines. These lines representative of themes of sovereignty, goddesses, the juiciness of the womb and tomb. What else do I want to tell you about this card? This card's also really important because the lines on your body, including your very butt crack, are important. And the lines also, I don't explicitly spell it out, but it alludes to like an artist drawing lines to create shapes and um, folding time and space, if you will. Read between the lines, but also um, when people look at us, they have to also read between the lines because we wear masks and whatnot. Like maybe you're having a bad day, but you got to go to work. So you put your smile on, right? Read between the lines. Like
Right.
there's always something more there for you to think about. And if anybody is feeling um, like overwhelmed by people or something, this card is saying, like, F you, back off, read between the lines, like, whatever that means to you, whatever connections you're making. Um,
Could the
there's
ley
lots of
lines
cards.
be a part of it?
Sorry?
Could the ley lines be a part of it too?
Yes, any kind of lines, even telephone lines, like work with the metaphors. Lines going to and fro, lines creating alchemy, parallel lines that don't touch, intersecting lines, and the angles that get created. Like, that's what I mean. Like, I have a booklet, but it's whatever resonates with you. Why was this card important? And, your comment about the blood stain, like, what did you say? You thought it was a spider or something? Like
It looked like a mosquito or something.
a mosquito, yeah. Like that's for you to work with. And not this one, but some of them, there's like a little glare here. But when I made these, my camera glare, because I laminated the cards, they're original, right? I laminated them. And the glare from my camera, I was cropping that out. And then something told me to stop doing that. So on lots of cards, you can see my camera glare, but it's actually um, spirits and ghosts, spirit guides, angels, whatever language categories you're using, and those categories do vary, connecting with you. And I always recommend using a strobe light because it changes, and then the gold letters and the images, shadowiness. I think it's cool. And to save money and because it was better for the environment, these are printed on what's called eco herbage. So it unfortunately dimmed the color, but fortunately, if you hold it up to the light, you can't see through the card, but it shines certain shadowiness, illuminates certain parts of it. It looks cool, it looks cool. So you have to play with these cards. Yeah, so that was really fun. Thanks for allowing me to do that. And I'd love
Yeah.
to hear how anybody resonates, even if you catch the replay in 40 years from now. Let us know in the comments.
Yeah. I will say too, as for the conference, it is a journey, and so it's a journey we all take together.
Yes, yeah. And we're just getting the party started. This is our first year in. First year in. So I work with Pole Energy. Lots of people are like, "Oh, Gina, I told this person about your conference. Tell that person to reach out to me. Tell them about
Yeah.
this show today. Direct them to my Buy Me a Coffee because um, it's a really cool experience to be a part of. And I forgot to mention, it's in there somewhere. In if you look at like the energy exchange, like I said, I offer everybody involved a gemstone reading, but I also provide a free membership, lifetime membership to Project 30 Isis Unity Consciousness. So every single monitor, presenter, healer that's a part of my conference, they get the free link to the next conference. And so it's exciting to think that people who were part of the first and second have the link to join us for the third conference, even if it's catching the live or the replay. It's just cool that they get to continue to be a part of that. So,
Yeah, and in summer
community.
days, we did create a new lingo, and in honor of that, I am going to say before I do my normal closing, if you get the opportunity to watch summer days or promise of spring or falling consciously, just know, as the dragon family that we are, it is simply going to be a dragon-tastic day.
It's going to be Dragon Epic, okay? It's going to be quite the Dragon delight, and we absolutely adore for you all to come and join us. Join us live, support the cause. Hey, if you just want to send money my way, that's always helpful because the behind the scenes, there's always workload to do. And I would love to host you on my show. Reach out to me if you want me to be on your show. If you're hosting an in-person conference, I can do a live rapid transformational therapy, hypnotherapy session. So there's things available to all of us. All of us. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So thank you so much for having me on your show. Just it's been a while, I feel like, right? It feels like
It's
it's been a
been a
while.
couple months, yeah.
Yeah.
June was the last time. So, yeah, a couple months.
Yeah. The
But,
summer really flew by.
well, that was actually for promoting the conference summer days. So, actually being a guest, I think, might have been probably 4 or 5 months ago. So, yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, and my schedule is a little bit wonky. Starting next week, maybe the week after, my Tuesday show is going to be a Thursday show, and it's going to be 4 p.m. Eastern. But if you follow me on Buy Me a Coffee, if you subscribe to my YouTube, then you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. It's just there. You catch the replay when you can. A lot of people catch the replay, I find. There's usually like 0 to a handful that tune in live, and then there's always about 100 that seem to catch the replay. So I really appreciate that. People who are catching the replay, thank you for that.
Yes. And so we are at the end of the show. And so I do thank you for your time. And I will leave you with this, Gina. From my heart and the heart of my shows to you, thank you for what you're doing for humanity. Thank you for what you're doing for people out there. And more importantly, thank you for what you're doing for the Dragon Tribe. It is seen, felt, heard, and appreciated. And the most epic thank you to you is thank you for standing in your authenticity and modeling that for everyone.
Thank you for those words. You are welcome. And I ripple that right back to you. So, your soul tribe awaits you, everybody. Come dream with us. I double dare you to dream your wildest dreams. Co-dream with us, your soul tribe. We get you. We
I
get you.
triple dare.
We
And
dragon dare you.
so make sure you do follow along with Gina's YouTube page. It was listed earlier thanks to Jason. And we put on banner the Dragon Soul Tribe Facebook group, and we also put the link for the September conference as a banner. So do go check it out. Like she said, like and subscribe to it so that you can keep up to date with everything that's going on with all things Gina, because she posts a lot of great inspirational things along the way. It's not just promoting conference stuff. And so keep that in mind, and also like, follow, and subscribe my shows, because you never know when Gina's going to be popping up. Easter egg hint, it will be September next month, but you know, just you never know. And so she's always welcome, and it's always a delight and pleasure to have her on. And so blessings to you all, and blessings to Gina for having the courage to do a conference, because that is a lot of energy that a lot of people just start to get overwhelmed thinking about it before even taken the first step and talked themselves out of it. So I honor and I see what you have done. And so thank you for that. And with that, we are going to say have a wonderful afternoon and a wonderful day, everyone. And we'll see you on the next episode. Bye-bye, everyone.